Welcome back to the Delaware Way. We're back here with Senator Anthony Del Colo. We want to talk about, in 2 weeks, you've got a big budget deadline. Some years we've seen a big crisis. Do you see one looming for the June 30th deadline?
So we have a different scenario this year. There were multiple tax increases and there were some cuts last year. That has brought us a significant surplus.
So that's a good thing.
It is a good thing. It is a good thing. Now, that, however, begs a number of other very important questions surrounding how we should use this money. Will this type of revenue be sustainable? I'm understanding, if you look at where it's coming from, the real estate transfer tax, corporate franchise tax, other types of areas, it's not likely that some of that increase will remain, in essence, in the second, third, and fourth year from today. So the new discussion is, can we exercise fiscal discipline and not cause the budget to grow as if this was going to be sustainable? Can we put more of that money aside to save it for a downturn? Can we spend some of it on one-off infrastructure and other types of investments that won't become future spends?
What are the priorities? I mean, certainly the schools are a big priority.
Yes.
What are the priorities?
So I believe, and I will echo a little bit of what my colleague, Representative Ramon, has said, that we have to take a close look at the things that we cut back on before and how we would address some of the nonprofits that we cut to the tune of 20%, folks that help seniors with getting meals, folks that help people with intellectual or physical disabilities have quality of life. Those are important.
So you want to pump that surplus to help bring some of that money back?
I would like to see some of that come back. I also think that there are other significant priorities that have been neglected for a very long time.
Like what?
One example would be the way that we deal with anti-discrimination and labor law enforcement in Delaware. We have not seen numbers for the number of labor law or anti-discrimination investigators increase since the 90s. And yet our population has increased significantly, and the number of anti-discrimination complaints, as an example, that are investigated have something like quadrupled. And yet the same 5 number of investigators, that's the number that was there in, I think, 94, has remained pat throughout decades. So that's one example. There are other areas that require, I think, some reinvestment, some modest effort to adjust with the realities of how our population and the things that we value, if we want to value them, we should invest in them. But by the same token, I also think that there are important fiscal restraints that we need to exercise. And that sort of segues into a project I've been working on involving a constitutional amendment to develop a budget smoothing fund.
So you're the budget smoother. You're the official, you want to, in other words, streamline it so you don't have these up years and down years.
And I can say that that work is being done. We just articulated our final report, which is available online on the General Assembly's website. But that Budget Smoothing Fund Task Force, which was convened pursuant to HJR 8, House Joint Resolution 8, would do just that. And it suggests 3 basic things. A fund to smooth out the budget so we can have more funding in years when we have a downturn, so we would be saving more money in up years like this. A mechanism to tie the rate at which the budget itself grows, not to how much money we happen to have, but to perhaps an average of CPI, the growth in which people are making money, the change in our population, so that it's tied to certain realities in our economics and demographics. And then thirdly, to look at, once we get that infrastructure in place, a way to make our revenues more stable. We have volatile revenues that oftentimes perform counter-cyclically to the rest of the economy, which makes it difficult to avoid things like drastic tax increases, sudden scrambling to cut services, and I think that avoiding that would be better for Delaware.
Well, speaking of revenue sources, so we have now the big gambling Supreme Court, United States Supreme Court ruling that New Jersey fought for. But Delaware, of course, you've snuck in there and gotten things done quickly. So people now can do their sports. This is not my thing, but the sports gambling, it's huge. Everybody's talking about it.
It is huge, and I know that it's interesting because there was some concern expressed by myself and others about the constitutional question, whether or not it would be permissible. And I know that there was some reservation when that was initially done because there are parts of Delaware's own constitution. I can't remember the exact ones as I sit here, but I remember that discussion. But I will say that Delaware has a way of leading the way at times, and we saw that in a sort of related area with our racinos and how we were able to lead the way in some respects in that area, how it brought us some significant fiscal benefit for a period of time. So that's an exciting thing, and hopefully it'll accrue to the benefit of our state.
Yeah, absolutely. Senator Del Colo, thank you so much.
You're welcome. It's always a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. And up next, we're going to talk about a mentoring program for people who get out of jail and want to reinvent themselves and become productive parts of society. So the Delaware Way continues.